I remember talking to you on the evening of January 6th, and we like had a phone call after we both got back to our hotels, and I remember thinking, I was like, did he go in the building? Because if there's one thing I know about you, it's you don't hold back on anything. And
Yeah.
in my head, I was like, would he martyr himself for this cause? And we talked, and you're like, no, I didn't go in the building, and I didn't go in the building either. So we kind of figured that nothing was going to happen after
Right.
that. And then after you were arrested, I will be the first to admit, the one of the first things that went through my head was, did Brandon actually go in the building and lie to me?
Right. Oh,
and and I
interesting. I
and
get that.
Oh yeah, and it was like because again, and it wasn't like a nefarious thing. It was like I genuinely thought that you would martyr yourself for this cause and that you would do everything that you could. And I remember like I was feeling really sick the day that you got arrested, probably because I was worrying about if I was going to get arrested. But I remember laying in bed the next morning and finding the video that you had live streamed from the Capitol that day and just listening to it with my eyes closed. And the moment it got to the part where people were saying go, 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 or take the shield, my eyes popped right open. I was like, that's not Brandon's voice. Nope. Don't believe it. Don't believe it at all. And from there forward, I knew exactly that you were being railroaded by the government. And I knew that this was just, they were coming after you because you were a high profile person. And it was just all bullshit. And, I cannot imagine having to go through the year that you've gone through, not only with, I don't want to put words in your mouth and you can certainly elaborate on this, but many people in the conservative movement kind of turning their back on you, but also just the not knowing of when this is going to be over. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, both things. So the the thing with the people shying away or turning their backs or whatever you want to call it, um, I would imagine that the way in which those people will give themselves a pass or give themselves an out is that they will justify it by telling themselves and possibly telling the public that we wanted to wait until we had all the facts. We wanted to wait until we didn't want to jump. God forbid Brandon did do something terrible and maybe we didn't know, and we just wanted to wait and see how it all turned out. Here's my issue: all those people have my phone number, and they all have my text. They can text me, they can call me, they can email me, they can whatever. If anybody had any questions at any time, I would first of all, I would have loved if my phone had been ringing, and even if they did just want to ask questions and say like, what the hell happened. But the thing I just don't understand, because I'm really not this type of person. I can say with absolute certainty, not just because this happened to me, but just 100% certainty, if what happened to me happened to you or anyone else, that I know, nothing would stop me from contacting you or whomever and saying, I don't even care what happened. Are you okay? Are
Yeah.
you all right?
And,
Like,
and and I just want to confirm that too, because I remember the day the FBI came to my house, and I just happened not to be here. I was in Los Angeles, but I got a phone call from Victor, and I tweeted or something, or maybe I sent a text message saying the FBI just showed up at my house. You called me immediately. It was not even an hour between when I got the text message that the FBI had shown up and getting a phone call from you. So that is absolutely true.
it is true, and it doesn't hurt anyone. It doesn't cost anything. Like, I can actually I can understand. I don't know if I can appreciate, but I can understand that there are people who might feel too cowardly to make a public statement, and be like, Brandon Straka is my friend. He's a good guy. I don't know what he did on that day, but I'm willing to say that he's always been a good guy. Like, I understand if there are people who don't want to do that, but nothing should stop anyone from reaching out privately and just saying, I don't even care about the details of that day. How are you? How are you doing? But I think, it scared a lot of people. I think that a lot of people have told me, I was afraid to call you because I thought that your phone was tapped. I thought that if I
Mm.
called you, then the FBI would come and get me. I thought, and it's like, well, geez, I mean, that's what they want. Like,
Yeah.
what you're describing is exactly what they want, they want to take certain people, and I don't think I'm like the most effective person in the world. Like, I'm not, coming at you today just being like, oh, I'm at the top of the food chain. It's not like that. But I think I am an effective voice and an effective activist. And I think that if they can take people like me and people bigger than me and even people smaller than me and make us radioactive, which is kind of what they did. I mean, they kind of just made people like, I don't want to get near him anymore. And then, eventually I think the hope is that people like me and the movement I've created, will just die. Mm-hmm. But here's what people don't understand about me is like, I'm like a masochist. Like I don't quit. Like nothing will stop me. If they come bursting into my house today and drag me away again, and I spend 5 years in prison, I'll just get out of prison and just start again. Like I'm not going to quit. So, they barked up the wrong tree with me.
Mm-hmm. How has this experience and kind of having some time out of the public eye for the past year made you reflect on the walkaway movement and the work that you would like to do there?
In such a positive way. And this sort of goes along with what I said earlier about the insecurity that I had about how I was perceived by certain people, like that I considered to be above me kind of, and wanting to get their respect and wanting to, if I hadn't had this experience and you had told me, a year and a half ago, whatever, that I would be able to get basically like knocked off the game board for an entire year, and that my followers and supporters and that the walkaway community would survive that, I don't think I would have believed it. I think I would have been like, no, we have to stay active every single day. We have to stay in front of people every day. If we don't do that, it's all going to, go up in smoke. And that didn't happen, Carlin. I mean, they basically made me disappear for an entire year. And the only thing I could really do was send out these emails, which were almost written in Morse code.
They were very cryptic.
I was like, blink twice if, I was writing these emails just being like, I'm fine, which was true. I mean, I was fine, but, I couldn't really get into, why my case was delayed again and why it's delayed again and what's happening now. And these stories, these ridiculous stories that were coming out. Oh, he's flipping on people and he's throwing people under the bus and he has all this information that he's turning over. And so I'm like, what information? Well, like, I wasn't even going to go. Like, I can literally prove that I bought my plane ticket on January 4th. And I have text messages where, like, days before, where I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going. I haven't decided yet. I don't know, whatever. And then people were sending me messages the day, like at 2:20 p.m. being like, we're hearing that people are going inside the Capitol. And I'm like, what? What's going on? I mean, so there's the idea that I had, it's like some people thought that like Donald Trump and I were talking on the phone for months, like twirling our hair and being like, it would be funny. Like, let's attack the Capitol. Like it didn't happen. There was no information. So I just had to kind of sit back and watch as these like ridiculous stories were coming out and all of these ways in which I was being smeared. And every time something happened, I was like, oh my God, this is the thing that's going to ruin everything. This is like this fake story or this fake accusation or this is going to be the thing that makes everyone go, you know what? I really liked Brandon. I really liked Walkaway, but this is too much for me. Like, I'm done. And it didn't happen. Like, my followers kept writing me back. They kept emailing me back and they kept being like, nope. We know it's all bullshit. Like, we know what they're doing. We see what they're doing. And they just kept saying, we're waiting for you on the other side. We're waiting for you on the other side. And so that to me was the greatest lesson in this whole thing is that I could have taken a year off a long time ago and everything would have been fine. No, is that we could go through something this harrowing and literally that I could be kind of evaporated and made to disappear and that we would survive it. And we have, and we will.
And I mean, I kind of think that everything happens for a reason. Even some of the most negative, traumatic experiences of our lives, I think that they happen for a reason and a purpose. And it almost seems like this was, although awful and stressful and horrible, it almost seemed like it provided you a necessary adjustment in your perspective to remind yourself of why you're really doing this. And it's not for the approval of the blue checks or the influencers or Trump. And if that stuff happens, then fine. But it's for the people whose lives you've been able to impact. And it's just like, I mean, that's who's really important at the end of the day. It's just like average everyday people who are just trying to like live their lives and do their thing and are very concerned about what's going on in the country and don't have anywhere else to go. And
Yes.
I felt a huge void since you've been kind of away in just, a lot of people have been red pilling. A lot of people have been waking up and there is no one to catch them. There's no one to guide them. And
Yeah.
now you're back and hopefully focusing on that.
No, I am back, and I'm very excited about all the things we're going to do in this coming year to relaunch Walkaway. I have to remind people, I'm still sentenced. Like right now, I'm on house arrest. Excuse me. So I actually have an ankle monitor right now on my ankle, and I'm not allowed to leave my apartment for 3 months. So I'm still working through that. I do have 3 years of probation, which my Twitter trolls are just thrilled about because they mistakenly believe that means that I can't work for 3 years, but it's not true. So I literally just have to get through this period of house arrest. And then we're going to be back out doing events again. I'll be out speaking. And in the meantime, we're actually working on putting some things together virtually. And I'm really excited about, people are going to hate it that I'm saying this because it's Twitter. And trust me, guys, no one hates Twitter more than I do. But the Twitter Spaces is actually like kind of this incredible thing that you can reach a lot of people and exactly the kind of people you need to reach, and you can do it from anywhere. And so I'm kind of thinking about utilizing Twitter Spaces to get my message out and to, maybe do some like virtual events and things like that. And so we'll use this time that I'm not allowed to leave my apartment constructively. And yeah, but I'm absolutely, we're bringing Walkaway back, and we're going to launch Walkaway Social this year, which is our own social media platform. And it's not to like replace Facebook or Twitter. It's not going to be that like open source of a social platform, but it's basically just to replace the Walkaway community that was banned on Facebook. But we're gonna house it on walkawaycampaign.com, and it'll be hosted by servers that are owned by conservatives and freedom-loving Americans. So it's gonna be great.
And I can't wait for that. I mean, you guys have done so much work behind the scenes, and I cannot wait for people to see what you guys have been building, both with the campaign and with the Whack Pack, which I don't really like that title, but whatever.
See, I do. I really like it. But I appreciate people are going to either love it or hate it. But yeah, I'm a lover.
There are worse things, I suppose.
Yeah.